Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio. Brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com. Now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Atlanta Business Radio. And before we get started, it's important to recognize our sponsor, OnPay. Without them, we could not be sharing these stories. So thank you, OnPay. Today on Atlanta Business Radio, we have Matt Teague with Walton Communities. Welcome, Matt.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Well, before we get too far into things, tell us about Walton Communities. Where is that located and what's it kind of looking like?
Sure. Walton Communities is an Atlanta-based company founded roughly in 1989 with a core mission to provide affordable housing in Atlanta. And since then, our scope has really grown to include senior living and market rate communities, such as Walton on the Chattahoochee. And right now we have about 30 communities in Georgia, ranging from West Midtown to Marietta, Gainesville, and even Augusta.
Now, when you say affordable housing, this has always confused me because I would think that whatever housing is, it costs what the market will bear. And then if everybody wants to move there, then that kind of raises the price of housing. Is that not how things work?
It's a complicated question, but when you are in the affordable housing space, quote unquote, affordable housing, there's different mechanisms that you can go through to provide restricted rent levels depending on your applicant's situation in life and their income as well, and their how many children they have and their marital status. And it's a big equation to provide reduced rent to residents who can qualify for that.
And then, but once they qualify, do they own the house, or is it not? It's more of a renting the house.
No, it's through the programs that we use. It is all rental housing, and so they are under a lease, just like anybody else in a rental apartment.
And then, talk about like what was the genesis of the idea to tackle this challenging group.
Well, a few of our partners, when they were working in a larger company in the 80s, really recognized the need in Atlanta for more communities centered on families, and looking for apartment communities that had a lot of 3 and 4 bedroom apartments instead of apartment communities focused mainly on young professionals. They saw a need to provide apartments for families that didn't necessarily make a ton of money, but yet needed a very nice place to live. And so that was kind of the original thought behind starting Walton back 30 years ago when it was under a different name.
And then, so the premises that you're trying to give that family all the amenities, or a lot of the amenities that may be single, like you said, there's a different group of people would be typically getting, and then the families can kind of enjoy those amenities as well.
Yes, that's right. And believe it or not, back in the 70s and 80s, you could have a sign on the door that said, "No children allowed," or "No one under 18 allowed here." And of course, you can't do that now. But so there was a large gap in housing back then for families who had young children and needed larger apartments, and yet still wanted a very nice place to live with pools and amenities and kids clubs and all that.
And we're talking today about the Walton on the Chattahoochee Riverside community.
Yes, that's right. That's one of our newest communities.
So now tell us about that. What kind of what stuff's there and where is it located?
Sure. Well, it's the new building. It's called the Riverside Building at Walton on the Chattahoochee, and it's on the larger campus of Walton on the Chattahoochee. But this new community is only 26 apartments, and it's just a really special place. We had the unique opportunity to build just steps away from the Chattahoochee River, which is very, very difficult to do. And so you have this brand new building with only 26 apartments that many of them face the river And then across the river, there's thousands of acres of park space as well. So it's truly a unique place. And you sit within the campus of Walton on the Chattahoochee, which is almost 50 acres with about 1,000 feet on the river. So it's a unique place to live. And
where is that located?
Yes, it's just inside the perimeter on Powers Ferry Road and Acres Mill, where those intersect. So you get the atmosphere like you're in North Georgia with all the trees and the river, and there's 2 pools and a few water features. So you feel like you're kind of in North Georgia, but yet you're still inside the perimeter, just off the Cumberland Boulevard exit on 75.
And so you're getting all the benefits of kind of being close to in town, but you get that feeling that you're kind of in your own getaway.
That's really right. I mean, just outside of our community, there's miles and miles of trails in the Chattahoochee National Recreation Area. They go up the river. They also go down towards the Bob Callan Trail, which takes you directly into the new Battery Park. So you can walk to the Battery from here, or you can take advantage of more of the outdoor living up on the Chattahoochee and on the Cochrane Shoals Trail and the other miles and miles of trails inside of Cobb County as well. And yet you're only about 10 minutes from Midtown. Yeah,
and only a few minutes from that Heirloom Barbecue.
That's, well, actually, Heirloom Barbecue is tucked, right next to us. You could, if you're in one of those apartments right there, they could throw a barbecue sandwich at you. It's we take advantage of that a lot over here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shy about mentioning that. That's for sure.
No, I'm glad you brought it up.
Now, talk about the marketplace right now. Can you kind of explain the pros and cons, like renting versus buying, when you have on one hand you have kind of interest rates at lows, and then on the other hand is that people have to be more flexible and have to be able to, sometimes move when opportunity arises. Can you talk about the pros and cons of renting versus buying?
Sure. I like to tell people when this question comes up, let us take care of you. In our communities, our teams are trained and ready and just so excited to serve you and your family. And that could be anything from changing a light bulb to figuring out how to have your dog be taken care of when you go out on vacation, to just knowing who you're going to meet when you walk inside of the leasing office. So we want to take care of you. And like, if you're in a home and your AC goes out, you might have to stay home for 5 hours during the workday just to wait around for a technician. Well, with us, we want to be able to serve you and try to fix your problem within 24 hours. And that's just unheard of if you're a homeowner. So there's just advantages of being able to living in an apartment like ours and having a team surrounding you to take care of the way that you would like to live, with a easy environment and a friendly team around you.
So this is kind of like, there's going to be issues, and you guys pride yourself on kind of that higher level of customer service in terms of taking care of them.
Absolutely.
Now, what about how are you guys handling the pandemic right now in terms of kind of going in, checking out a space? Like, what's the protocol? Is that done through video, or is it still possible to go in person to kind of walk around?
It is possible now. And it took a lot of smart people to think about how to safely give tours to our prospects and to serve our residents. And our team has worked diligently to ensure that we stay on top of current recommendations and guidelines from the CDC and the Department of Health. And we've increased all of our cleaning and disinfecting frequency. And upon when we reopened our amenity spaces a few weeks ago, and we've implemented lower occupancy standards for our amenity areas and our fitness centers and things like that. In the early days of the pandemic, our goal really was, how do we make sure our residents are okay? And we felt compelled to go beyond simply working to limit the spread of the virus and really to seek out the most at risk residents that we have. And we really established this goal to call every single resident and to check in with them personally and made sure our teams worked hard to accomplish this. And we were able to offer the forbearance agreements to those at risk of being unable to pay. And we also provided food and meals to those experiencing income loss, and continued to offer fun when possible, like team members even hosting socially distant dance parties from rooftops and courtyards, just so residents could get more interaction with each other and our team as well.
So it sounds like the culture of Walton is this kind of higher level of customer service that goes above and beyond. That's just part of the DNA of the company.
It really is, and we rarely sell our communities. We tend to hold on to them for years. In fact, in my history at Walton, in the last 10 or 11 years, we have not sold a property. So it's very common for our residents to be able to know the team personally that works in the leasing office, or takes care of maintenance, or takes care of the grounds. Some of our managers have been at their communities for 5-10 years, and that's very common with us, which is something rare in our industry.
Right. And people may not understand that sometimes these kind of places are built to be sold. So they don't have that kind of long-term view of taking care of things and really kind of putting in the time and the roots to really create a solid foundation. They're just looking to flip it in a short period of time. And when you have that long-term view, you kind of behave differently, don't you?
Sure, that's very true. And I can't speak for other companies, but for us, our passion is in property management and taking care of residents. And we're creating our communities with that long-term perspective in mind. And we want to create campuses where it really is like a resort, and there are park spaces and there's playgrounds. And even where I'm at right now, we have moved our offices to Walton and Chattahoochee. So I'm looking outside and I'm seeing kids playing in the grassy area and people enjoying a cup of coffee by the river. So we're trying to create spaces where people feel at home, and their guests can enjoy park spaces and barbecues and just, a clean and thriving environment, really.
Now, if somebody wanted to learn more, maybe check out the property, what's the best way to get a hold of you and to come on by?
I think the best place to start is our website. It's waltoncommunities.com. And for the Riverside building, we have a individual website for that, which is chattahoocheeriverside.com. And that'll take you directly to that page for the new boutique building on the river.
Good stuff, Matt. Well, congratulations on all your success, and thank you for what you're doing. You're doing important work, and we appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show.
All right, this is Lee Cantor. We will see you all next time on Atlanta Business Radio. And remember, this work would not be possible without the support of our sponsor, OnPay. Please support them so we can continue to share these important stories.
Today's episode of Atlanta Business Radio is brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com.